Hey, it's Tandy with Common Ground Alaska. We're the Sustainable Alaska podcast, and we're really glad today to be welcoming Ken Hoffman. He's with Mat Su Microgreens, and he just grows some really cool, good food for Alaskans. So we're going to get to talk to him today. So Ken, thanks for joining us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. So I have to comment on your shirt first because that's a lot of fun. So tell me a little bit about the shirt you're wearing. For those of you listening, it says "Tending Giants in Alaska."
Yeah. So I'm also, besides a business owner, farmer, I'm also the executive director of our local chapter of Farm Bureau. So we're the part of the Mat Su Farm Bureau, and we're always at the fair every year. And the way that we raise money is by selling apparel, shirts, hoodies, mostly the Alaska grown hoodie that we're known for, but we also do some custom stuff. So this year we designed a hoodie that is supposed to promote the giant cabbage contest at the fair that we hold every year. So since we sponsor that contest, we just wanted to make a little hoodie to go with it. It's a small run, so try to make it to the state fair early and pick one up.
Yeah, that's great. I know that's one of the highlights for me of the state fair is my new hoodie, whichever, and sometimes I'm tempted to get two. So that's just kind of how that works. But yeah, you guys do a good thing. So yeah, and the fair starts this weekend, which is crazy to me because that kind of means summer's over about, and I'm not done.
Oh, no. So
Yeah.
I've been kind of ready for winter time. That's the time to plan and get ready for the next season and fix your problems.
It's true. It's very true. You can kind of take a step back. I know our website, I was looking at our website the other day and it's kind of disastrous. It's got some things on it that really need fixed, and there's no time for that. So it will be nice to be able to kind of, like you said, clean up some messes, plan for next year, but I can handle a little bit more sunshine before that happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's dig in. So you own Mat Su Microgreens. So let's just start with the basics. What is a microgreen and how is that different from like a sprout?
Yeah. So the difference between a sprout and a microgreen is that a microgreen, the major difference is a microgreen is considered an agricultural product and a sprout is considered a processed product, kind of like a sandwich or a salad. It's not considered a vegetable by the, I believe it's FDA standards. So, and it's because a sprout is just a seed, you put it in water, it sprouts for a couple days, and then you ingest it. While a microgreen is planted in soil, it grows for about a week, and then you harvest it from the soil. The main reason the government said that it's a processed product is because a lot of people got sick from the Chinese. They grew mung bean sprouts, and there was an E. coli outbreak, so the FDA put a stop on that. So I legally cannot grow sprouts as much as I would like to because I have to have a commercial kitchen, and I'm a farmer, not a chef, so I stick to the microgreens. And personally, I like the microgreens more. They're healthier, they're more nutrient dense because you let them grow for a little while longer. They actually develop chlorophyll, while the sprouts are kind of anemic. You don't put them in sun or light. And then I also like the microgreens because they're really flavorful. They have a lot stronger flavors than the sprouts, so you have to eat less of it to get that flavor bomb in your mouth.
Okay, okay. So I want to back up for just a second because this is it's interesting that you just never know the strange anomalies going on with food, right? So I just did an article on what's in our food and what carrageenan is how you pronounce it, is what it actually is. Anyway, so I just feel like there's so much about our food that we don't know unless we're doing it ourselves. So a sprout is I actually do sprouts occasionally here, just in the winter, just because sometimes you just need that crunch, that green.
Yep.
And so I just put them in a jar and I have a little like sieve on the top that so
Yep.
you put water in them, you shake it up, you drain the water out. They after a couple days they sprout. But you're right, they're never
Yeah.
in soil. I'd never given that any thought. So they're not actually considered an agricultural product because even though it's a seed and it's sprouted, because it's
Yeah.
not in dirt, it's not an agricultural product.
Well, it's just what the government says. They said, "Oh, it's not a vegetable." Then I guess it's not a vegetable. Uh, but yeah, home growers, you can grow sprouts, of course. But if I wanted to do it as a business, I cannot sell them,
Gotcha.
unfortunately.
Okay. So what makes so I wanted to differentiate, the sprout that is growing in a couple days and it's just grown in water versus yours that's grown in soil and it takes about a week. You said they're more nutrient dense. Can we dig into that and really get into why it's more nutrient dense and what you're getting that's extra?
Again, it's just since it's developing chlorophyll, they're under the lights. So you allow the seed to hit its full potential because there's so much energy in the little seed. I don't even give them any fertilizer. So they just develop to their full potential, what's in the seed. And that's when you harvest at that peak of nutrition. And if you, they say that micro broccoli, which is our healthiest one, is 40 times more nutrient dense than a head of regular broccoli. And it's because in a, say, an ounce of micro broccoli, you're eating 40 little plants. So each of the plants have all of those nutrients inside, while a normal head of broccoli, all of those original nutrients are spread within a giant plant. It's quite interesting that way.
It is interesting, and I had heard that too, and I was hoping you'd bring that up. So I want to put that a different way. So when you eat a broccoli micro, if you were to just eat one, just pull one little broccoli microgreen and you eat that, that has all of the nutrients that the entire big broccoli plant is going to have when it's done growing. Is that correct?
That's what they say. But again, when I don't know what the parameters were in the study that was done, because maybe they pulled out a broccoli that was grown what I would call it a conventional farm, where it's dead dirt. They plant the broccoli and they're just pumping it with fertilizer, which is what the broccoli is growing in. So it's if you go to the store, sometimes the broccoli are a bit anemic. So that might be what they're up against. But personally, I think the broccoli that I have right outside the door, which is grown in compost, organic soil, there's so many nutrients going through it. It's bright green. I wouldn't say that the microgreens are necessarily 40 times more nutrient than that. So it's up to debate. But I do know this, the microgreens are indeed healthy. There's a lot of studies on that. How many times more healthier than regular vegetables? Because I don't want to compete against normal vegetables. I prefer to sell the microgreens, not necessarily for the nutrient density, but for the flavor. I love the flavor. I use it like herbs. You don't eat parsley for the nutrients. You eat it because it tastes good and you want to kind of pizzazz your dish. And so that's how I see the microgreens, especially like the radish, the leeks. You can even freeze dry them and turn it into a powder and use it as a seasoning. So that's what I prefer.
That's really fun. I had never thought about doing that. I don't have a freeze dryer, but I have a dehydrator that runs 24/7 this time of year. And I'm experimenting. I haven't Googled because I don't want somebody to tell me I can't do it. So,
Yeah.
so I'm just trying it, see how it works. But the leaves, I keep going out and pulling the leaves off of my celery as every time I pull an onion, because we're eating them fresh out of the garden right now. Every time I pull an onion, I pull the leaves, a bunch of leaves off of a celery, and I might pull some of the tops off of a carrot or whatever, and then I bring it in, and then all of the onion greens, the celery greens, the carrot greens, whatever the chives. Sometimes I'll grab some chives or whatever and throw them in there. And then I'm powdering them up and making like a seasoned salt.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with it just for fun because I don't want to waste that stuff. It's good stuff. So I hadn't thought about using microgreens as a seasoning too. That's really smart. I bet that would be really good on just about anything. But I'm thinking like my breakfast eggs. That would be really tasty.
Oh yeah, it's definitely kind of in the plans to get a freeze dryer for that. They are expensive. It's a 10K investment, but if we got it, then we would be able to freeze dry other vegetables as well, maybe make
Yep.
soup mixes and things like that. And it's considered a cottage food product, so we still don't need a commercial kitchen for that as well. So it'd be an easy jump in the business plan. And microgreens are just so delicate; they don't last for a really long time. So if I take them to market and they don't sell, they're pretty much thrown in the compost. So
Yeah.
instead, I could freeze dry the leftovers. They wouldn't go bad. They would hold for many years, and so the level of waste will go to near zero if we do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for the home consumer, when they get some of your microgreens, I've done this before. I had gotten some microgreens at one point and then I kind of forgot about them. They just sat in the car overnight. And when I went to get them out the next day, it'd been hot and they were wilty and I couldn't eat that. Um that's actually a bad example. But if they're getting kind of old or whatever, then you can definitely put them in your dehydrator. Um,
Dehydrator. I even saute the microgreens. Our most popular microgreens are the sunflower shoots and the pea shoots. They are thick. They're like regular vegetables, and a little bit in sautéed with butter and garlic is excellent stuff. So
That would be tasty. Again, back to my eggs, because I eat eggs for breakfast almost every day. And so I'm always trying to spruce them up. I put some homemade salsa or some pico or something on there. But I like the sprouts on those
oh
too.
yeah,
That's just fresh and good. Or you can saute them in either way. That's tasty stuff. So so tell me, can you walk us through the process of making a microgreen? So what from start to finish, from the time you plant the seed or even before you plant the seed until you're ready to harvest. What does that process look like?
yeah. So I have my 10-20 trays that I fill up with soil, just normal pro mix from Lowe's. Fill it up with about a quart and a half of soil, and then I tamp it down, make it nice and hard, and then I put the seeds right on top. I don't bury them in, I just put them right on top. I water it in, and then I put weights on top. I stack them on top of each other and add weight because that helps them get um, develop a really strong neck. In fact, behind me, you can see trays on top of each other, and there's a 15-pound brick. So there's 6 trays, 15-pound brick. They're under, immense weight for about 3 days. And then after 3 days, take the brick off. I pull them out, water them on top, and then put them right on my under lights. And then they're under lights for a week. So that's really the process in a nutshell. And I water every day, but that's it.
Okay, so they're sprouting in the dark, or not quite sprouting. It's
They're
very pre.
germinating. That's the germination process. They're
Okay.
germinating in the dark and in a really intense environment, and that helps them get strong. You want to kind of stress the plant out. I mean, that's something that we do with the outdoor vegetables and the perennial plants. You want to stress them during germination because if you give them perfection, then when they get older and say wind or rain and cold comes, they're not ready for it. So when you're germinating a plant, you want to give it a tough environment. You want it to barely germinate, but still germinate, so that when it's given an easy life, it just thrives.
I love that. I that's a good example. So that's great. And then so they germinate for 3 days. All of the different varieties do.
Most of them, there's a couple that germinate in 4 days. That would be the larger seeds, and also like the sunflowers and peas. I soaked them in water for about 12 hours. So you could say that that's part of the germination. So that's an extra day. Um, but another seed that I soaked for 8 hours and it still takes 4 days to germinate is popcorn. And you wouldn't believe it, but I get my popcorn seeds from Costco. It's Orville Redenbacher popcorn, the microwavable stuff. And so when I Googled search, no one said I could do it, but I was having a hard time sourcing popcorn seeds up here. So I bought one of the big gallon jars or plastic tubs, and I tried soaking it, planting it, and it worked. It's great, and it's a great little marketing thing, and the popcorn tastes great. So yeah, you can. That would be my start for a homesteader. Is just grab some of the popcorn that I'm sure you have in your pantry, soak it, and plant it. And it's a lot of fun for kids too. And the
No,
product that comes from it is sugary sweet. It's almost like growing candy. That's what I call it. It's candy.
that's amazing. And I'm envisioning, you said it kind of, would take on the flavor. So I'm thinking, ooh, if you sauteed that in butter, then you've
Would
really
be
got
in.
it.
What I tell people with the popcorn shoots is to chop it up real fine and mix it into a salad like canned corn. So I've had a chef have like a quinoa Mexican cilantro salad with like diced tomatoes, and they threw in the popcorn shoots, and that was excellent. That was one of my favorite ways. But another chef of mine, since it's so sugary sweet, he put it on top of ice cream or raspberry crisp. He does a great job plating it.
That's really fun.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's talk about let's go into that then. What are the different varieties or what are the different plants that you grow, the different microgreens that you grow, and tell us a little bit about the flavor of those and kind of how you would use it.
yeah,
Like I've seen where you can get like the spicy mix, and I didn't know what that meant till I tried it, and it is a little like a radish is kind of spicy when you eat it. That is kind of what it is. So talk about maybe some groups of things and how you use
yeah.
them, your favorite ways to use them.
So there's like the three most popular that I grow the most of and that are the most productive that I recommend homesteaders try would be the sunflower shoots, which are big, they're mild, they're crunchy. People use them almost like French fries. They dip it in their Caesar dressing and eat them like that. Um, Nice and mild. Then there's the pea shoots. Tastes just like sweet snap peas from your garden, and they're great sautéed. They're great in salad. Then we've of course got the radish, which tastes like radish. It tastes exactly like a radish, but I always tell folks that it's easier to prepare than a normal root radish, because you can put the micro. You just open your container and you throw it on a sandwich or on a salad. It's really convenient. I like that with the microgreens. They're convenient. If you forgot to make a vegetable to go with your protein, then all you do is throw some microgreens on top and you're good. Another one that we have is micro broccoli. We grow a lot of micro broccoli. It's the most nutrient dense. And then we also have some other ones that are not as popular, but we like to have a variety. We try to grow 20 varieties every week. We have fava bean. They taste like green beans. We have buckwheat. They kind of taste like, they have like a citrus tang to them. We have the leeks, which is very oniony. We have nasturtium, which is horseradishy. We have arugula, which tastes, of course, like arugula. And then we have amaranth that tastes like red beets. Tastes just like a beet. I'm sure I'm missing other varieties too, but yeah, they're all unique. They're all excellent.
That sounds incredible. And I'm thinking it sounds like it would be really, really good year round, but I'm wondering, especially I feel like as we're heading into right now, everything is fresh. We can just go out and pick a raspberry or a strawberry or pull up a carrot. I just pulled up a carrot the other day and it's got some good size to it. But what's coming, we all know, is a season where it's really hard to get fresh stuff. And so, I'm one of those that goes to the grocery store and I just stand in the produce aisle and it it just always looks kind of anemic, I guess is the word you, and it doesn't always. I know the grocery stores do their best. I'm not trying to diss them, but it just isn't, we're so used to just this, we have this bounty this time of year. And then come October, November, the grocery store just it isn't the same. It's not comparable. So the fact that we can get this year round and it's fresh and it's good and it's crisp and it's flavorful and it's grown right here, like that's just so exciting. That's super cool. I love that you're doing this. So it's a little early in the game, but I want to just talk about where to find you. Um, yeah, I want to go ahead and jump into that, even though we usually do that at the end because I'm excited. How do I
Yeah.
get some of
So when I started the farm in 2019, I started with the market gardening, and the primary method that we sold our market garden produce, spring mix and roots and radishes, was through farmers markets. And we are continuing to do that. We're still at the South Anchorage Farmers Market. We're also at the Anchorage Midtown Farmers Market. Fortunately, we have to go all the way to Anchorage because that's where the people are to get the sales. But then also, since the microgreens are so consistent, we can produce it 52 weeks of the year, um, at very consistently. We also sell via like an online subscription model. So people go to our website, they check out the menu, what we call the menu of all the different greens. They say, hey, I want that and that every week. And then we grow a tray just for them. So it's all grown to order, to decrease our waste. And so that's another way we sell is,
and how do they get that then? Do they come pick that up from you or
we have a pickup location in Palmer, we have a pickup location in Wasilla, and then we also do home deliveries, Palmer, Wasilla, and Anchorage, and even Girdwood. We go to Girdwood as well because Alyeska Resort's our biggest client. So we make the trek because it's worth it.
okay, so your microgreens are sold at Alyeska, which is I've eaten there a couple times and it's very pricey, but holy moly, their food is good. I
Yep.
I, I had this is gonna sound so stupid, but I had Brussels sprouts there one day. It was part of my meal, and I just wanted I wanted a vat of those Brussels sprouts. They were so good. I've never had Brussels sprouts made like that. They were incredible.
Yeah, yeah, they're one of our favorite clients. We have Jack Spratt out there as well in Girdwood. We supply grains to O'Malley's on the Green, which is the fancy golf course in South Anchorage. We even one of our favorite chefs is at in Glacier View. They did the majestic heli ski stuff, and so we supply greens for his lodge, and we're even shipping them out to Katmai National Park. We have a chef out there in Iliamna, so we drop off greens at Lake and Pen Air, and they ship them around. So we have a large area that we service.
That's incredible. So I love that we can get them. We can get them at restaurants. We can get them for ourselves. And you mentioned that you do home delivery. I'm curious. Can we talk about your boundaries again? Because that's like we're in Big Lake. You know where we are. What are your boundaries for home delivery?
Well, we haven't um, gone out to Big Lake yet, but we do offer to Palmer, of course, in Wasilla and Anchorage, and at a $25 minimum order. We do that.
Oh,
But
okay.
if we got to sit in a brewing company, say in Big Lake, and there's a large enough restaurant to justify the trek, then of course we would add Big Lake as part of, say, the area, the delivery area. So that's kind of how we work. Is if we get a large enough contract outside our area, then we'll add that to our routing. But the dream is not. We do like the home delivery, but of course it takes a lot of time. The dream is to eventually get the certifications to be able to sell to the grocery stores so that we can be statewide. That's what we really want. Because there's no microgreens in any of the grocery stores currently. Sometimes you see Alaska Sprouts, their products, but I know, I believe his name's AJ. He's slowing down. He's not wanting to grow as much. So Charlie's has talked to us. They want to buy our stuff. D. Tomaso wants to buy our stuff. We just have to get the yes from the government, which takes a long time, and the government wants a lot of money. So we're saving up.
Yeah, it does. The time and money thing are both they're both at a premium, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, that's really fun. So the last thing I just wanted to talk about is, so you talked about like sautéing them and like I really want to kind of dig just a little deeper into how we're going to eat these things because, um, so you can eat them fresh. I get you can totally eat them in a salad or as a salad. But let's get a little bit creative. How else could you consume these sprouts and make them kind of part of your everyday regimen? Because that's really where your health starts is when you're eating these super nutrient dense foods at least once a day or sometimes even with every meal.
Yeah. So my favorite way is actually in a sandwich. I love it on toast, but especially sandwich. I make these like Italian hoagies where you put like all the meats and cheeses, and then I pile on the radish and the leeks. Even say if we're working hard and we have to order out and get like a Subway sandwich, well, all of us workers will open up our Subway sandwich and just pile on the greens and really take it up to the next level. So that's our favorite way is the sandwiches. I love it in sandwiches, in wraps. Salads, of course, are great as a topper. It makes the salad fun. And then sauteing, of course, is a lot of fun. And we put on hamburgers. It's really anything you want. You just plop them on whatever you're eating. We have one guy, he comes to the market every week to get some of our micro mix, which is a kale, cabbage, broccoli mix, and he puts it on oysters. So I don't know. There's a lot you can do. It really can
I
be.
guess we're only limited by our imagination, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the chef out in Glacier View, he made the popcorn shoots into an ice cream. So you can do a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, you totally can. That's awesome. So one thing that I did that was really good with microgreens is I had made a steak and I will admit the steak turned out really good. You know how sometimes just your steak is just right, just right. And I slathered the steak with butter and then I sprinkled microgreens on it. Oh my gosh, it was like that's all I needed for dinner. That was pretty perfect. I still think about that and I need to try to recreate that dinner.
Yeah, making me hungry.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, that's good stuff. So, so Mat Su Microgreens, we can find you on Facebook. We can find you on. You have a website, and we can find out So, let me just clarify really quick. You don't deliver to necessarily to every area, but if you deliver to Wasilla, is there a drop point? So, if someone was in, say, Talkeetna or Big Lake, we could drive to Wasilla and meet you.
Yep, yep. We have a partnership with Active Souls. It's a shoe store in Palmer and in Wasilla. And we have
Okay.
a cooler there. And so what we do every Friday morning is we drop off all of the packages that people need to pick up at the coolers, and then you can pick up there anytime between 10 and 6. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate chatting with you, and it's been fun learning a little bit more about microgreens and kind of dreaming about how we can add more greens and just more good fresh stuff to our diet, even if we don't have a garden or even when our gardens are no longer producing in the ground and everything is white. So it's good to
It definitely extends the season for fresh produce. You can have
for
fresh vegetables 52 weeks out of the year. I know a lot of us Americans are used to the global supply of having basically every vegetable and fruit available all the time. But if you really want to eat local, you have to eat with the season. And so in the wintertime, that means potatoes, carrots, rutabagas. But the microgreens can really, you can still eat local and have your salad as well. It's just part of the season. It extends the season for that.
absolutely, absolutely. And when you think about it, I just was thinking about this the other day when I was walking around in my garden. I was thinking, man, we only eat out of our garden for what, 4 weeks? Because really from when I pull up my radishes, which is around the 4th of July, and that, well, I guess it's more like 8 weeks. And then to the end of August, that's it. And so if 8 weeks out of 52, that's not very many. So this is a great way to eat, like you said, and it's sustainable. Buy a ton of seeds. I'm sure that bag of popcorn would last a personal consumer for years, probably. And yeah, and but we're able to get them from you and support local and bring up the nutrient density too, because again, not to harp on grocery store food, but it was grown probably in Mexico, or it's
Yep.
grown and then it's shipped up. And like your motto on the back of the on the back of my shirt today,
Yeah.
it says it's grown here, not flown here, right? So you're not losing that nutrient density just in time getting it up here, let alone growing practices and all that. So
What I tell the farmers is, we're producing products that consumers cannot get. So you cannot get, unless you buy Alaska grown, a cabbage that was picked that morning. It's impossible, right? You can't ship it that fast. A lot of the stuff in the grocery store is already 5 to 7 to 8 days old. So it is impossible. So I think that's something that farmers really need to push, is that our products are not only better, but I mean, they're unique. You're never going to get them. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. The microgreens, you're not going to be able to get any microgreens from California because they go bad in that short period of time. So you have to, if you want fresh microgreens, you have to grow them yourself, which I recommend. They're a lot of fun to grow. However, it's like having, say, a dairy cow. You have to check on it every day. There's no vacation. So I was lucky enough to bring a business partner. So now I can go to Hawaii a couple times in the wintertime. But until then, I was here every morning, 52 weeks out of the year, harvesting every single week. So it's a bit monotonous. So if you're tired of the monotony, buy from me. But otherwise, try growing it yourself. It's a lot of fun.
absolutely. I love that. Okay. Well, Ken, thank you very much for joining us. I learned a lot about microgreens and now I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. Time to have breakfast.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.